Have a government that's focused on what matters.
Chris Hipkins.
Mr Speaker, if that's the best defence the National Party can mount after another shocker of a year for New Zealand under their stewardship, it's no wonder the soon-to-be unemployed National Party backbenchers are looking so depressed going into the Christmas break, because you can see it in their faces that they know the game is up. They know that they have failed to deliver the brighter future that they promised New Zealanders 4 long years ago. They know that John Key's promise to stem the exodus to Australia, when he stood in the Westpac Stadium and he talked about the number of people going to Australia and he said he was going to do something about it, they know that New Zealanders have realised it was a hoax. Because in fact now Westpac Stadium's not big enough, and now it actually would require Eden Park to accommodate the number of people that are leaving to go to Australia every year under John Key's stewardship. The game is up. New Zealanders know that they were duped by National not once but twice, and they're going to feel the consequences of that next year when they get to the ballot box, because New Zealanders are feeling it. New Zealanders are feeling it. In particular, they're feeling it in relation to employment. The highest unemployment rate in 13 years that we are seeing today under John Key's national government. Whatever happened to the Job Summit? That was John Key's major focus when he became Prime Minister, getting people back into work, creating jobs, and yet we now have 175,000 New Zealanders out of work. And, well, what's the response to the government? Oh, the numbers bounce around a little bit. Well, actually, if you're one of the people who have lost your jobs, you don't feel particularly bouncy about it. I know you're about to lose yours, Mr Speaker, but I won't go into that in any greater detail. What else has happened this year? What else has happened this year? We've had the GCSB debacle, John Key failing to read the reports, failing to take any responsibility for his own actions, and then, of course, we've had the debacles, the ongoing series of debacles in education, where three ministers, Craig Foss, Hekia Parata and Bill English, all signed off on the implementation of a new payroll system without thinking to ask anybody, will it actually work? Will it work? Has somebody checked to see that when we hit this button, it's actually going to work? All three ministers, including the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, signed it off without bothering to ask, is it going to work? And what was the result? Thousands of people up and down the country didn't get paid. And thousands more got paid the wrong amounts because the government didn't do its job. Because that's not surprising, though, when we look at their track record in education. It's a government that's well and truly taken its eye off the ball in education. Their one solution this year to make things better for the education system was to make class sizes bigger. And every parent up and down the country knows that having more kids in front of every teacher is not going to improve the quality of education that their kids receive. And yet John Key, even now, even after backing down on it in the budget, still thinks it's a good idea. He just thinks they didn't sell it well enough. He still thinks it's a good idea. It's no wonder the New Zealand public don't have any faith in this government when it comes to education. Because this government's educational policies are all about ideology. Unregistered and unqualified teachers in charter schools that don't have to adhere to all of the rules that every other school in the country has to adhere to. And of course, they think that education is a great place for people who want to make a profit, as we've seen with their public-private partnerships in schools, which haven't saved the taxpayer any money. In fact, the one public-private partnership that they've tried to implement in this education sector has cost more than if they had just built that school using the good old-fashioned traditional method of getting the Ministry of Education to oversee its construction. It's been a disaster, and it's all been so that the National Party can create a profit-making opportunity for someone rather than actually looking at what the best outcome for education is going to be. It's been based on ideology. It's been a shocker of a year for the government on so many other fronts as well. Let's not forget Nick Smith thinking it was all okay. Grant Robertson will never forget Nick Smith, thinking it was all okay for him on ministerial letterhead to write a letter for one of his friends, arguing for ACC cover for them when he was the Minister of ACC. He doesn't have the judgment to be a minister. Now John Key's trying to jack it up so that he can be back in the ministry after Christmas. That's a disgrace. That's a telling commentary on John Key's standards.
The Honourable Anne Tolley.
Mr Speaker, let's get some facts out on the table. Police corrections